Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to iSlam podcast. We are now in week number 6. I am, as always, your host, Arif Khan. I was gone for a little while as a host. I was still around doing participating in the show. But today, since we're missing Omar and Imad, I thought I'd jump into my old spot again. But that said, I still have some good friends to join us. So first of all, Mr. Hanan Ghafoor. Hanan. Alaikum Hanan. And also making a return is Mr. Fancy here.
Hello.
And today we also have another special guest. So we have the GM of Team Rida, Mr. Adil Patel. Adil.
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Assalamu alaikum. So I think Adil's having a little bit of video trouble here, so we're just going to have his melodious voice to regale us. But as long as you can hear us and we can hear you, it's all good.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Adil, for joining. We've been wanting to have you on the show for a couple of seasons now, so glad you could make some time for us.
That's funny. Nobody asked me before.
Well, like I said, we had to make time for you. All right. Awesome. Okay, so let's get on with it. So we have the format here. Like we tried this last weekend. It worked out. It was pretty good. Where we talked about the various teams, and then we had some sort of pardoned interruption type style of content as well. So we'll go with that. So let's start off with the first one, which is the Rida versus Ikhlas game. So since Adil, you were in this game, obviously, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I mean, the first game of the night, people always get. This is overall, there's lots of speed in there. I think it's a 1-1 tie. Yeah, a 1-1 tie.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of body work going on, but I mean, nobody had a problem with that.
So what was your sort of what was your game plan to go against Ikhlas?
We have no game plan. We just go into the game and just make sure everybody plays. That's all it is.
All right.
Most of us want to come out and get some exercise in. That's all it is.
Oh, but you still want to win, right?
Yeah, eventually it'll happen. You just go out there and have fun, and eventually you'll just win or you tie. It's been working all season for us.
One thing I think a lot of people are wondering, Adil, is that for Rida, like, how are you guys like figuring out your lineups? Do you have set lineups like in stone heading into the game, or do you kind of just like get to the rink and you're like, all right, just because it seems like there's a lot of shifting going on. Like we typically see Huzaifa sometimes playing with you, sometimes not playing with you. So like, what's the thought process there?
For the most part, our lines stay the same. I'm playing D, so I'm usually out there with whoever, but we only have 10 guys show up to every game, so usually the same guys play with each other. There's not much shuffling go around.
And for me, watching these games, the one thing I've noticed.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, one thing I was going to ask you is that, watching these games, especially with the Rida versus Ikhlas games, it kind of feels like Zaid, your goalie, is still not, I guess, comfortable in net. There's a few times, and I think I've seen it like once every game, where a goal goes in and he kind of looks to the sky like he feels like he should have had it, and it just kind of slipped by him. And I think his background, he's like a ice hockey goalie. Do you think there's some, like, I guess, shift in the back end on his end that he's adapting to ball hockey?
No, it's nothing like that. He's been playing ball hockey for a while now. I think it's just the fact that he doesn't get tested much, and 5 minutes without a shot, and then he gets a shot on. He's not really into the game. For the most part, we keep our shots from the outside, so he's not really tested. There's nothing close.
So basically, the weakness to Rida, you're saying, is just try to play defensively for a good 10 minutes until Zaid gets cold, and then just kind of just pepper him until something goes in.
Yeah, and just hope that works.
I like it, but
there's the buzzer. We got to move on to the next one because we got a lot of ground to cover here. So the next one of the night was Yakin versus Iman. Zoo, you want to get in on this one because I believe you were in this game too.
You had a much better time in that game than I did, but yes, it was It was an ugly affair. I'll take a hit on that because a couple goals were my own fault. Iman short benched, and Yaki early 2 goal lead, but not two great goals, but two hardworking goals. One from Hussein and the other from Jihad. But then Yakin just wouldn't stop working hard and running, and pounded us with 5 straight goals and a 5-2 win. So another tough loss for Iman. I think that's 3 goals they've given up five. Sorry, 3 games they've given up at least 5 goals. So that's a tough spot. You gotta
And
have
this
enough
happened
players to
right
win.
after a big trade, right?
Yeah, it looks like G and Abdullah aren't done there with the trades.
Yeah, lots of work they're trying to do to tweak the roster.
Abdullah is like the shadow GM of the team.
Someone's got to take over.
Yeah. I'll second that, man. I feel like, I mean, it's good that they got Ali Wadi there. I think, when it comes to GMing, I worked with Ali last season, and definitely a GM
Here we
worth
go.
having on your team.
Here we
But
go. The Ali Hanan love fest continues.
hey, when you have a good GM, you play well. So I mean, Rida's playing well. So definitely, I would say Otto's a good GM. Someone you want to play with, someone you want to work hard for. And sometimes, when you have that GM where you're like, am I going to get my minutes this season? Should I really put in that effort? It starts, morally getting to you. I mean, that's why Zoo let that goal in, right? Like, morally, he didn't know what was going to happen in his next shift.
Zoo had a pretty hard time, man. He went into the corners with Sakib a couple of times. He wasn't none too pleased about that. Do you have any words for Sakib here?
That was a can opener, Saka, and complained saying he didn't do anything when his stick is on the ground after taking me out.
Here's the two things I did notice from this game. Actually, sorry, I just had to talk about these two things. One, huge game from Azhar Zafar from Yaqeen. I honestly thought he played solid, and I think he had. I know you assisted him on that first goal, Arif, but he completely dangled the goalie, and it was kind of like this is why you pick Azhar. Like when you're about to look at your second line, immediately every GM in the draft is like, is Azhar available? Because that's the guy you want to pick. And then from there, Sani even had an incredible game, multi-point game, and naturally, Otto, not missing a beat. But they did shut down Hussein Malik, and I think he was a beast for you guys earlier in terms of, points per game. I think he was at 5. He was leading the league. But Ali Khwaja, I think he looked a little shaky in that. That first goal that happened, it almost looked like from an impossible angle that got scored on him, or it just seemed like one of those shots where, like I said, Ali Khwaja would have gotten it, but even he kind of looked to the air in frustration because of what happened there.
Yeah. No, Ali had a couple of fluky ones that went through him, but we picked it up after. And the nice thing I think for us was that even down 2-0, we didn't feel like we were losing the game. We're like, okay, well, we'll have to work a bit harder. And we, again, as we've done all season, is we've concentrated on our game. And that sort of got us out of the basement there.
I will say Hussein Malik may not have scored, but he did have an impact. Like between playing in that game on D with Sani, with Azhar, with Hussein pressing all the time, it wore me down. I'm as a team you can't keep running. So Hussein may not have gone on the scoreboard, but he definitely made an impact with his.
Now for Iman's side. Yes,
one second. I was gonna give Adil a chance here. Adil, you caught the tail end of this game, right? So what do you see?
Half. But the way the game was running out there, it looks like all their forward lines are clicking right now. I think you guys been scoring like 3, 4, 5 goals the last couple of weeks now.
Yeah, 5 goals in each of the weeks so far.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna end this Friday, but good run.
Looking forward to it. We'll see what happens there. So
I did see some connection on Iman's side though. Like I know Ali Wadi and Abdullah Patel. I just want to say this. I think you start seeing a little bit of clicking on that line, and eventually feel those goals will go in.
Good stuff. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next game was Haya versus Ihsan.
So this was a tie game. Not surprising. I believe Ihsan's MO is that they haven't won a single game, yet they're not that far off from making the playoff. They're still, I think they're 4th in the league, or I guess last in their division, but they're tied for points with whoever's 3rd. And the biggest factor I'm seeing here with Ihsan is that they have a lot of talent It's just that nobody's clicking with one another, and it's a lot of individual efforts, or the moment you don't want the individual effort because someone's open, the pass is not being made. And I'm wondering, kind of like what Iman did, you probably want Isan to go through a revamp. You got some quality players, and if they're not clicking, just trade them off for another talented player, and get something going for the team.
Oh, with this game also, I think second week in a row that Luke was missing, Lukman. So
Yes.
I don't know what the deal is. Azu, any insider information there?
I did ask, and I believe he's out of the country.
For how long?
So nothing negative in terms of injury that I'm aware of, but yeah, he's just away. But I mean, his son, 5 games, 4 ties, 1 loss. They're not getting blown out of games. Obviously, like they're competitive. They're just not clicking, and they have a good roster that maybe, at Hanan's point, a small tweak may just give them a little bit of a chemistry change that makes a difference. But I mean, they're hustling. Like they have speedy guys with Kadir, Hamza Abdullahi, Daoud still can move. Riz presses. Like they have guys that can play. So on side, it's just a matter of time before something connects, and then they're able to start putting up goals and actually win a game. But they can't. I mean, they can't. They're tied. I mean, to Hanan's point, they're tied for the third playoff spot right now in their division, but they have 0 wins. So it's not. Things could be worse. They could be Iman with 4 losses, right? So.
I mean, it's solid effort for both goalies as well, because I think this was a high shooting game. 20 shots on goal for Khalid Mufti and 18 for Mohamed Mughal. So they definitely stepped up, and we definitely saw some incredible saves from both ends. It's just a matter of defensively. I mean, Haya is it's the Haya has, so it's Luke's team. They're defensively sound, and Isan, honestly, the way Dawood drafted this team, they're also defensively sound. And I think even Bilal Hafiz got a second star.
I just want to interrupt here. I know it's not the PTI session that I shouldn't be interrupting you. However, there is a section where we're going to be talking about Isan in a bit more detail. So let's not jump ahead for that. Let's just keep it on track for the game itself. So with that said, let's move on to the next one, which is Suburb versus Taqwa, and this game ended in a 4-1 win for Taqwa. So I don't know, Adil, were you around to watch this one, or had you already left arena by then?
I was at Noir waiting for these guys, but I called them. They told me they won, and they still didn't show up. So I figured they lost, but they actually won. So good on them. I was just wondering if Umar Banchoy actually scored with his stick this time, or get in again.
I think he did score this time, right?
Yes.
So the funny thing is that I know
goalie, that's why.
I know you said you were waiting for them, Otto, but it's kind of interesting because that whole waiting for them kind of slow. Listen to Taqwa. It seems like a lot of them were talking about they liked Umar Punchboy's game, but they're like he was also a little slow. Is there something about that? Is there some trend where how he behaves in real life also reflects how he's playing in Iceland?
No, not really. That's just how he is. He's easy going. He doesn't put too much effort in. He just gets the job done.
He has a good shot, though. I'll say that. It's just, I guess, knowing the way Mandra and Kazi run their team, I guess they kind of want that. Hey, just run back and forth. But like you said, like Umar Punchboy is more of a he's in the forward zone. He's gonna pretty much stay in that forward zone.
Not so much back checking, but
he'll cross that blue line and he has a nice shot.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Now, again, I don't want to get ahead and talk too much about Suburb, but I mean they've been having a hard time here. I mean, this is a 4-1 loss for you guys. What really quickly, what do you think you have to do here to kind of get out of it?
I think guys need to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what did we had 8 guys basically during the game, so that's 3 subs, and some teams are built to win even with like no subs or very few subs because you just got talent that can play the entire game. Whereas unfortunately, Suburb, outside of Umar Buksha's, gym workout, cardio is a little lacking across the board. Outside of, we have some solid defensemen like Huzaifa Punchbaya.
Rantin.
Huzaifa Mantra. Sorry, the lesser known.
You gotta buzz.
I will say that I want to give a shout out to Vasam on the team. Honestly, he's done incredibly well on the defensive side. I think he played almost the entire game, and you can't ask for more from the defensive. If they're playing the entire game and still stepping up.
Yeah. right, let's go on to the PTI format. So now we can talk in a little bit more in-depth detail here. So first one is, Ihsan seems to need a win here. Adil, since you guys do nothing but win, any advice for Ihsan to win?
I think their GM's got to step up. That would hasn't scored all season, from what I hear.
Yep.
If he's looking for a new stick, he should probably, message me. But yeah, they got a good team. They got I haven't watched any of the games yet, but they got the body of the team to do it. I just don't know why they're not quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they've been blown out or anything. They've been tying every game, right? So they're literally off by one goal. A few bounces here and there, they could be in a completely different situation, and we could be praising their season thus far.
Yeah, no, for sure. At least they're coming out of the games with a point.
6 goals in 5 games is pretty rough, though. Like,
That's
they
true.
got.
I think the thing is that you watch them during just before the game. They're all taking shots. They're all practicing on the goalie, and they're scoring. They're scoring great goals. And I wonder if it's just the pressure of being in an actual game is starting to get to them. Like I'm watching Rizwan Malik. I'm watching Bilal. They're doing all these finesse goals, and then when it comes game time, they all disappear.
We have Kadir here in the comments saying, "You trying to trade, Hazipi?" Are we going to get our first trade happening live on the podcast here? Hazi, if you're there, respond back. Maybe we can get something going here.
Yeah, let me know what you want. I'm willing to trade my whole team.
I would say about his son. I mean, looking at it, I commented that 6 goals is bad in 5 games. They've only given up 8, so at least they're playing good defensive. They just got to take advantage on power play chances, cash in some of those opportunities they've had. Salman Saeed and Daoud kind of play the same style. And I think they went offside 5 or 6 times in their game in the second half they were watching, and that's little things, little timing like that. It kills the offensive flow when they're getting the zone. So they got to be better.
It also gives you a breather. It depends how you look at it.
you would kill your teammates if they went offside 5 times.
Oh, for sure, 100%. On the trading block.
Have you made any trades, Adil, this season so far?
If you're a good GM, you pick the team.
I don't think he has yet. No.
No, he's okay. Well, on that note, let's move on to Rida and say
they're first in the league. They don't need to.
Exactly, the unbeatable Team Rida. Even though they got a tie, so it's a slight downtick from their usual performance.
Yeah, there's 2 ties in 2 weeks for us.
2 ties, yeah. So first of all, Adil, what was your formula to get such a good team going? How did you go into the draft?
I just made sure Farouk didn't pick my team this year. I partnered up with Zaid Aji, so I had my goalie covered. I was playing D, I had that covered.
Yeah.
From then on, I just picked whoever I knew from before, and I know their games, and I can gel well with them. I got Solly I think in the 4th round. I don't know why everybody skipped on him, but I got him. I got Huri, and then they're all guys that I've played with before, so it was just easier to put a team together.
How was it in the later season? Later rounds for you? Just because I know it's only been a few seasons you've been with Iceland. Did you feel confident knowing that even in the later rounds you kind of knew who you wanted?
Yeah, the only person I didn't really know was Kizzer and Donis. But I figured I got Iman lock and ball, so I might as well get Kizzer.
Yeah, they carpool together, really, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, if one's good, the other one must be good too, no?
So let me ask you this, other, I guess, GM to GM here. When you're on the top of the standings like this, you don't have to make any changes because everything's going well. But do you, in such a position, try to make a change to better yourself and get ready for the playoffs, or do you not want to sort of rock the boat?
No, from the first game, I saw my team and I just told them, I'm not planning on trading anybody. If anyone wants to play for another team, I'll trade you. Other than that, I'll keep the team the way it is. I always believe in just drafting the right team. If you did it right from the beginning, then you shouldn't have to make any trades.
Yeah. So Hanan, you can't go to that team.
I never said I wanted to.
I wouldn't mind. To come too.
I wouldn't mind, but I didn't say I wanted to.
Hanan likes that blue jersey. Looks nice.
Is there a team you want to go to?
It's funny.
Hanan?
That's the one jersey I actually did not like. It reminded me too much of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I'm sure he wants the green. Oh, sorry, the
Yeah,
orange.
too.
Wadi.
Yeah, gotta go where I belong.
All right. All right, so let's move on to the next section, which is uncut gems. So I think what Omar Asawi was implying here when he put these nice graphics up is players in the league who I guess have been punching above their weight class, or guys who were sort of under the radar and now they're an integral part of their team. Hoping to get your thoughts. Who are such players? Zoo, I'll go to you first.
I said it a couple weeks ago last time I was on. I think Hussein Malik has been a steal in the draft relative to where you got him and how he's been performing for you. So that's good on you for gambling on a young player who's meshed well in the system. If I had to pick a second one, I think Hussein Hamad's played well for Iman.
Yeah,
he's
five
leading scorer on that.
points in 5 games.
Yeah, he's playing really well in a team where Iman's just 2 lines. Most weeks, so you get a lot of playing time, but you got to be able to produce when you're under pressure. So, I think goalie wise, I think Mohamed Bogle has played well.
Yeah,
the 8 goals against is the least amount of goals, one of the least in the division. He's played really well. So that's some names I would throw just at the top.
Yeah. Although, what about you? Do you have any particular individuals in mind that like, oh man, I should have gotten that player?
Not really, no. No, actually.
What about on your team? Is there anyone that you want to? Is there anybody on your team you want to shout out and give some kudos to?
Player to be the player he is. I think he scored for us in at least every single game.
Sorry, Adil, I think you cut off a little bit. We didn't quite hear you. Do you want to repeat that?
Yeah, sorry. I said Zaid Khaler. He's been scoring for us every single game.
Yep.
I didn't expect him to be popping goals every single game. He's averaging like 2-3 breakaways a game.
Nice. Hanan, what about you? I'm sure you have a couple in mind.
Yeah, so for goalies, I'm actually going to give a huge shout out to Yusuf Kapoor for Taqwa. Absolutely been a rock for that team. I think he's had probably one of his best seasons so far. His goals against average is just 1.2. Probably the best in the league. Zaid Aji has the best in the league, but outside of Zaid, you got Yusuf Kapoor, who's pretty much top tier goalie in terms of his stats. So anyone who skipped on him, they basically lost out on that. And then I also saw, who is it? Hamza Shakil. I think him from Isan. From where he was drafted, I think he's actually been putting up, pretty decent numbers. He's got 3 points in 5 games. So he's definitely been stepping up for that team where, as Otto said, the GMs have been kind of sleeping in terms of where the point should be from there.
But Hamza was drafted in the first round, wasn't he?
Oh, Hamza Shakil was drafted first? Okay, never mind. Sorry, I'm thinking someone else. No, outside of players then, honestly, there hasn't
He was drafted 6th overall in the...
Never mind then.
Maybe you're somebody else.
More points.
Yeah, he needs more. He needs more for first rounder.
And then, would you like to talk about your other friend?
Who?
You help me out here. Who did you talk about last time?
Oh, Jawad Majid.
Jawad, there you go.
No, he's doing terrible. He has 0 points right now.
But he's playing well. I saw him play. He looks really good up there.
He is playing
really well.
He is playing solid. I mean, he's always been a solid player. But I think, there was one season I saw him, he was playing for Farouk, and he was a goal getter, and I think he was playing with EBP on his line. So I think there is potential for him to do more, which is why, there are a lot of players, and a lot of times, defense players especially, they go unnoticed. They don't get the shout outs that they deserve because, they're not the guys getting the points usually. Yeah. They're the ones shutting down the points.
True. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is Subber tinkering. So, I don't know what's going on. Subber last year, championship caliber team. The T Park boys really stepped up. We had a fantastic team. This year, they have a lot of not a lot of the same players, but some of their key players are still from that championship team. And they got Maju recently. What's going on with Subber? Why are they a sinking ship?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think they've had some attendance issues, some injuries. Janaid Alvi got hurt. Isawi's been playing hurt, so I mean that helped for sure. They did make a trade, which we've kind of alluded to. I'm not sure if that actually been announced yet on social media, but
Well, why don't you go ahead and announce it since you have the
uh,
parties in hand?
it was, and forgive me because I don't remember the brother's last name, but Safe from Iman has been traded for Hanan. So I guess they'd had enough of Hanan, and Ali decided it's time to bring in the clowns and traded for Hanan.
So Hanan, you finally get your wish. You get to go back to your buddy.
I don't know. I never wished for this. I just said, I like.
So you don't want to go.
I'll tell you this. In a league where there are some discrepancies in terms of I'll be honest with you. When people go into the draft and you're looking at who the GMs are, I'm pretty sure that at least 90% of the league are like, I pray to God I don't end up on this GM's team. I mean, I don't know if you kind of feel that too, Rida. Ado, when you as a GM, you look at certain GMs, you're like, that I definitely wouldn't want to be on that team if I was a player.
No, I'm okay with all.
And sorry, I saw it's Safe and Sorry, who was the player that got traded to Suburb. I think Suburb. I mean, they were short guys last week. I mean, Hanan, you were short. I think you only missed a couple of games, but I mean, Huzaifa's not shy of making trades. Like last year, our team when they won, he made a big trade to get Zaid as the goalie, but strengthen other positions with RB Brian Bluff. He's kind of looking to do a small tinker here. But I know last Friday he seemed to be more than happy to talk to other GMs and inquire about player availability. So I suspect this isn't the last change he's willing to make. Summer right now, if I understand again, they I think are tied for the last playoff spot in they're third, so they're not. Or sorry, they're second. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're second. Yeah. So here's the
Adil, if you, I'm sorry, I'm just going to throw it to Adil here.
Sure.
Adil, did you get any kind of trade offers from Suburb that you're able to or willing to discuss here?
No, nothing from Suburb, but I did get something from Isan, right?
Sorry, man, you're like completely silent. I don't know if you're talking.
Yeah, no, I never got a trade from Suburb, but I got it from Red.
So Isan.
Yeah, from Isan, from Dawood. And then there's also a couple of...
No, I heard he said he got an offer from Isan and Red, but not Suburb.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, now we're curious. What's Isan looking like? They're looking to make a move, which makes sense. If they weren't, you'd be questioning if they're actually if they're okay with this ship kind of struggling.
Zoo, what is the trade deadline look like this year? Because there's obviously Ramadan. When do they last get to make any trades?
So the last opportunity to trade is after the 7th game, before the 8th, which would have happened the week before we go on Ramadan break, I believe.
So this week is the 6th, so they get to play this week?
So 2 weeks, and then the trade deadline right after that.
So March 25th.
After next Friday, they got to set things. Okay. And is that also the case in case GMs need to get swapped?
Yep, waivers, everything. Roster freeze is before the 8th game. So
so everything.
It's a little unfortunate because in the middle there's Ramadan, and that's a whole month of anything could happen to a player.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, there's also samosa weight that.
Yes, samosa weight. Who knows who's on a strict regimen to keep fit.
Hanan's gonna open each fast with a plate full of dates covered in honey.
So I think, Adil, were you trying to say something? Again, sorry, bro, you're really low here. I can't hear you.
Word on the block is Bilal Hafiz is giving his whole team diet plans.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I heard last season, was it Ikhlas? They were going through diet plans and workout routines every week. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, you have to contribute in whichever way you can. So yeah.
Speaking of diet plans, though, it was his birthday last Friday when he showed up, and did indicate he was struggling to play after getting a cheesecake. Celebrating his birthday with his family, and Habibi had his birthday as well, which he inspired both teams to sing "Happy Birthday" to him before each game, which I thought was a bit excessive. But that's the.
It's also the reason why they both lost. Apparently, whatever that birthday weight they put on.
Apparently, whenever Habibi joins a team, nobody shows up to the next game.
That is a true fact.
So if you don't want to face a full squad, just trade Habibi to that team the night before.
And on an unrelated note, make sure you guys are doing your laundry. Not to say that was the reason why no one's showing up, but it's always good to make sure that you come into a locker room with a fresh air of nicely laundered clothes.
All right, let's go on to the last point, which is the Calais connection. So we have these young brothers who are, mashallah, seems to be taking the league by storm here. So one of them happens to be on Rida. So Adil, what's your boys' story here?
Yeah, no, they're good young kids. Zayd's been pretty dominant for us every game. He's been scoring every game. He's up and down the floor. He's easy to coach. You tell him what to do, what not to do. He's on it. He's willing to listen. His ears are open. But the sky's the limit for all of them. They're still young. The more they play, the more experience they'll get. But it's not much of a collection when you're missing their dad in there.
Yeah, 100%. I think even their dad. Everyone has 2 points, and then Zayd has 4 points. So it's a family of production.
Yeah. So Adil, in order to, I guess, mentor these young guys, what do you tend to do on your team to mentor your young players?
Whenever I'm usually on the bench, I try and tell them what they did wrong or right during that last shift, or how they can exploit whoever's the defender on their side. That's what I usually like to do when I'm on the bench. I'll tell them, like, hey, look, your defender, he can't move too fast. Just chip the ball and go around him instead of trying to go through him. Just little things like that. I think that's what makes a player stand out more in the game. Just when they know who they gotta beat and how to beat that person, as opposed to beating different people the same way every single time. You gotta exploit their weaknesses.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Zoo, what about the other two brothers on Team Ikhlas? Have you watched them much this season?
I don't think they're all brothers. Zayd and Muhammad are brothers, so I had the opportunity to play with
No,
them
brothers
last
was
season.
in the other
No.
brothers
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Islam.
sorry. Yes, the other brothers. Yes, we're all brothers, though. That's Hanan, to be clear, if you could. So I had an opportunity to play with Muhammad and Zayd last year, and both, as Otto said, both good, coachable. Usman Guitar spent a lot of time yelling at them, which I felt bad for until I realized later they're related, so he's just bullying his younger family members. But no, they both work hard, fast, good hands. You can see that they're both really young, so they're only going to get better as time passes. It's one of those things that's always nice to see in the league where Wasim is playing with them. And I've always found it a nice thing. I don't know if I'll be able to play when my son is old enough to play, but Ijaz has had that opportunity with his son, and it's always nice to see. That's a fun thing. But yeah, they're very talented young players.
Right. Well, based on the comments in the comment section today, saying that Sue has turned back the hands off time with his shaving, he looks 20 years younger. So who knows?
You
maybe
guys complained last time I did look scruffy to clean up.
Cool. All right, boys. I think we've come to the end of our show here for today. Although before we part, any last comments about the season and anything that we should expect from you guys, especially since we're going to be facing you this week, inshallah?
No surprises. You'll be lucky if we only show with 2 lines.
Why, you're going to be missing a lot of players?
I mean, we haven't had a full bench all season. I think the most we've had was 10 guys.
Sorry, you're breaking up again. So, nonetheless, Adil, thank you very much for joining as always. Inshallah, we'll try to get you on again, maybe with a better connection, so we can see your smiling face, because you're always fun to be around at the rink. So.
Yeah, no, I'm just near the Mexican border right now, so the connection's kind of tough.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, Zoo, any last words before we part?
From Adil or anyone?
No, from you, Zoo. Like something.
No, I think next week, obviously, it's another round of cross-divisional games. There'll be some interesting matchups. I think the Rida Yakin would be a fun one to watch, with Rida leading their division and Yakin tied for the lead in there. So that'll be the game of the night.
Sounds good. All right, Hanan, you have the last word for tonight.
I think we haven't done one word halal yet for Player of the Week.
Oh yes.
I don't know.
We missed that. Normally we do some announcements. We're tinkering with a few different formats here, but no, good call. We did miss that. This week's One World Halal player was Adil Chauhan of Team Yakin. He again had 3 points, I think. He had a dominating game, set up people, control the play. He did Chauhan things like he normally does, right? So congratulations to him. I think this is his third or fourth one that he's won in the last couple of seasons, right?
Yeah, probably. I think last thing for league announcements is masks are still required. So there are some announcements in, the province starting to change some of the rules around the requirement for masks. As far as we know, masks are still required. So players, please remember to have it with you and wear it around the arena when you're not playing. And if the arena tells us something different, we'll be sure to share that with players as soon as possible, as soon as we have the information. But and just good behavior. We've had some intense games, which sometimes can result in angry words. So always try to be careful. We're all brothers when the game ends.
Well said, Zoo.
Agreed.
Don't hit anybody. No face washes, Zoo.
That's only on Sokka, but he's not playing well for your team anyway, so you just trade him.
Cool. All right, boys. Thank you again for joining. So inshallah, we'll see everyone on Friday. Till then, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
All right, so.